भारत हा प्रतिभावान व बुद्धिमानांचा देश आहे. भारतीयांमध्ये नवकल्पना व सर्जनशीलता उपजत आहे. मात्र या बौद्धिक संपदेचे इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी IP अधिकार संरक्षित होत नाहीत. देशाच्या विकासासाठी बौद्धिक संपदेचे संरक्षण गरजेचे आहे. त्यासाठी केंद्र सरकारच्या MSME मंत्रालयाकडून IP, पेटंट, कॉपीराईट नोंदणीसाठी प्रोत्साहन दिले जात आहे, असे केंद्र सरकारच्या सूक्ष्म, लघु व मध्यम उद्योग मंत्रालयाच्या उपमहासंचालक अनुजा बापट यांनी नमूद केले. सूक्ष्म, लघु व मध्यम उद्योग मंत्रालय आणि AIC पिनॅकल एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप फोरम यांच्या संयुक्त विद्यमाने राष्ट्रीय बौद्धिक संपदा इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी IP राईट्स यात्रेच्या उद्घाटनावेळी अनुजा बापट बोलत होत्या. पुण्यातील सेनापती बापट रस्त्यावरील मराठा चेंबर ऑफ कॉमर्स अँड इंडस्ट्रीजच्या सभागृहात झालेल्या कार्यक्रमावेळी AIC पिनॅकल एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप फोरमचे अध्यक्ष डॉ. सुधीर मेहता, MSMEचे संचालक विनम्र मिश्रा, निवृत्त वरिष्ठ पेटंट सहनियंत्रक डॉ. KS करदम, AIC पिनॅकलचे मुख्य कार्यकारी अधिकारी सुनील धाडीवाल आदी उपस्थित होते. सुनील धाडीवाल यांनी स्वागत प्रास्ताविक केले. श्रद्धा सप्तश्री यांनी सूत्रसंचालन केले.
India is shining and we are by all reckoning the fastest growing large economy in the world, will remain so for the next 2 decades at least, and are well on our way to moving forward in terms of technology, in terms of growth of incomes, in terms of improvement of the lives of citizens. How will this all happen? There are different models of development. There is a model of development which says, okay, take something, reverse engineer it, copy it, and then see if you can do it better. But I think India has always been different. I don't want to belabor this point, but we were almost 30% of the world's economy at one point in time. We were the largest economy in the world, which means we were the center for innovation. We were the center for new ideas. We were the center for what was setting a trend for the rest of the world. And this happened not just a flash in the pan. This happened over centuries and centuries, which meant that our country has always had a sustained culture of innovation, a sustained culture of creation. Somewhere along the way, we lost our way for many, many reasons, most of which are related to external factors. But clearly, it's time for us to come back. In our case, we have the added challenge of creating wealth for 1.4 billion of our citizens. We are not a country which has the luxury of saying, okay, some will do well, some can remain at the backdrop. And probably the single most important way that we can do this is by innovation. Today, it is no longer going to be the case that we are the world's lowest cost economy. It is no longer going to be the case that we can provide subsidies. The only way that an economic powerhouse can be created. And you can look at the history in the last 30, 40, 50 years, 100 years, 200 years. Countries which have done well only on one thing, which is on innovation and creating IP. I think for a long time we were defensive about IP. We were defensive about our ability to create IP. It was always that, listen, the IP comes from the so-called Western world, and in India we take parts and we say, okay, can we make this for 1 rupee cheaper? And this was the thinking. Even among startups, for a great part of the startup ecosystem, and I am saying this because we see hundreds of startups per year. Lot of the tendency was to say, okay, can we take something for a rupee, sell it for less than a rupee? The Indian customer is very smart. Till you give value, the customer will buy, and that was seen as a way to create valuation.
I have seen MSME, and like Dr. Mehta said, it's the time to be, an Indian, to be born in India. And I said it is the time when you should be working for MSME, because MSME is the flavor of the new India. And I'm happy that I have seen MSME in last, 10 odd years from all sides. I was working for International Labour Affairs. I was working for the Government for International Labour Affairs as my bio, if some of you have heard. And I did a lot of work on SMEs from the ILO or the labor side of the things that MSMEs suffer or go through. And then I looked at the MSME from the industry's side also. So if you know the definition that we have adopted of MSME and the definition that worldwide is adopted, there is a marked difference. We are probably the only country or very few countries who do not define MSMEs in terms of number of employees. It has. Rest of the world generally defines SMEs as the number of employees it has. And in fact, when I was working on an OECD conference in 2014, we realized that what we call small or medium industry is a micro industry for a US labor market. And that's where we kind of started advocating even more forcefully that it is the micro that matters the most, because micros are the ones who face the harshness of the labor market, or rather the inequalities in labor market the most, inequalities in the entire ecosystem of the market ecosystem the most.
Priority earlier of India before WTO came in, and we have TRIPS agreement and all. IP in India started long back in 1856, more than 150 years ago. But we didn't know. Even when I joined IP, I didn't know what is IP, what is patent. Then everyone used to tell me, where you work? I said, patent office. Patient office? What is there? Are you in a hospital or something like that? So that was the state of affairs in intellectual property in India when I joined the patent office. But after WTO and TRIPS agreement, it has changed. Everyone has realized the economic importance of IP, whether it's patent, trademark, copyright, design, whatever it is. And when our argument developed Geo, if we had patented, I think India would have been the biggest gainer, and nobody could have invented, use this computer programming and all. So, अब आप सोचिए कि अगर हम उस समय उसको पेटेंट करते तो कितना इंडिया कमा लेता अब तक उसको, क्योंकि कोई कोडिंग भी नहीं कर पाता था जापान, इंडिया और अमेरिका वगैरह वगैरह, तो हम कब तक उसको उस आइडिया को कमर्शलाइज कर सकते थे. So now this is very important, and I think we must congratulate the MSME to start this kind of program. National IP Yatra. It's a good program, and also the DPIIT has started NEPAM to create awareness in the institutions areas, and MSME also. They have a lot of resource person free of cost that they are going and to organize such kind of programs. And efforts of the government has also brought in 2016 the national IP policy to promote IP culture in India, and I think that policy has created a lot of benefit, and we are talking about the enforcement. The main objective of IP policy are enforcement of IPR, IP administration, and creating awareness programs, and also establishment of IP offices. So when we started working patent office, and
it was incubated sort of in the sense that we were thinking of spreading the word of IP protection, because India is a land of intelligence, intelligent, intellectual people, and protection of intelligence and intellectual property right has to be in place, and therefore the IP has to, the people have to be aware of the IP protection, and so we have set out on this IP Yatra. And we are targeting as ma'am said, tier 2, tier 3 cities to kind of create that awareness amongst people, amongst innovators, to understand the importance of IP protection. And we have been pretty successful so far with IPFCs, with our partners like Pinnacle and similar such partners all over the country. We've been doing well, and like for example, the awareness would be created, and only then in a country with so many diverse products and services, we are only in the hundreds as far as the GI tags are concerned. We have to be in 10,000s at least. I mean, a country with such myriad culture and such diverse products in every single town, we are in the hundreds, as we have not yet touched 1,000 also in the GI tags. So once people are aware that yes, you have to protect your GIs with the manner in which you can actually improve the quality after the protection, and then the market would kind of take care of itself. So we have to think in terms of having thousands of GI tags, and this IP Yatra is basically to kind of introduce the world of IP to the innovators and to the people, to the startups.